assurance of transparent and credible polls. Assure government enjoins people to embrace dialogue in the face of scarcity of cash. On the foreign scene, 18,500 people flee Somalia's breakaway region over border conflicts. Good evening, welcome to the major report. Babatunde Bolatito is my name. The presidency has assured that the forthcoming general election will hold and schedule the displays and onslaught of an interim government as jokes that should be stopped. The word seemed to be a response to Governor El-Rufai's theory. The presidency, in a statement by the senior special assistant to the president of media and publicity, Madam Garba Sheikh, said the president will not be associated with anything contrary to sustaining democracy. The Adana State Governor, Madam Nasir El-Rufai, had alleged in a statement broadcast that a cabal around President Muhammadu Buhari is planning the failure of the general elections. The Independent National Electoral Commission has reassured Nigerians that its commission will continue to be neutral and transparent by creating a level playing ground for all candidates participating in the forthcoming general elections. Osho State Representative Electoral Commissioner Dr. Mutiu Agboke, who stated this during a general stakeholders meeting, reiterated the commitment of the Commission to continue taking every step to protect the sanctity of votes cast by citizens in the forthcoming polls. Our reporter, Oluwatobi Loba now reports.
Stakeholders meeting organized by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, towards the conduct of the forthcoming general elections attracted religious leaders, political parties leaders and candidates, Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security, ICES, non-governmental organizations, head of security agencies, election observers, National Orientation Agency, women groups, the Christian Association of Nigeria, Osun State Muslim Community, civil society organizations and members of the pen profession, among others. Addressing the stakeholders in the forthcoming general election, Osun State Resident Electoral Commissioner Dr. Mutiu Agboke maintained that the progressive improvements that have characterized the electoral process is due to the tremendous commitment of all stakeholders, urging them to remain resolute in their efforts to consolidate the nation's democratization process. He reiterated the Independent National Electoral Commission's efforts to continue to engage critical key players on issues central to elections, election process, electoral governance, and democratic practices.
The Commission is working very seriously in order to put adequate preparations in place for the conduct of 2023 general election. I want to assure you, please listen, I want to reassure you that in Osun State, in this election, we will continue to be neutral. I will create a level playing field, I'm saying it. Nobody will be announced a winner unless those that we are going to vote for in this election.
In their separate remarks, the Osun State Commissioner of Police, Mr. Kehinde Longe, Osun State Coordinator of National Youth Service Corps NYSC, Mrs. Olayinka Abdul-Wahab, the Osun State Chairman of the Interparty Advisory Council, IPAC, Mr. Adebayo Adewale, Osun State Director, National Orientation Agency, Mrs. Kike Ahmed, who was represented by Mrs. Bola Morgan, among others, commended the electoral body for a job well done, noting that there is need for all stakeholders to participate in the forthcoming polls with patriotic zeal in order to make Nigeria a better place for all to live. They enjoined all to pave way for peace and tranquility, noting that fraudulent election will only bring violence, which can equally put the nation in turmoil.
Those of us who are still complaining and inciting violence, there is a day for you that you will be done. Either you are taken to court, and those of us seeking for appointments, you are filed, and before you can give any appointment, the DSS will write a security report for you. To stop and collectively identify containment issues and possible roles you can play in mitigating preventing electoral violence before, during, and after election.
Please cooperate with the government and then cooperate with INEC and then make sure we have a seamless election. Do the right thing to transform Nigeria. You have been warned.
The General Stakeholders Meeting saw the presentation of Bimodal Voters Accreditation System, BVAS functionalities, voter registration and migration, election procedures, INEC Result Room Portal, IREV, and election malpractices and penalties, among others. Oluwa Tobiloba Odunuga, OSBC News.
Away from election matters, the Central Bank of Nigeria has denied report making the round that it has authorized deposit money banks to collect the 500 naira and 1,000 naira old banknotes. In a statement today by CBN's Director of Corporate Communication, Osita Owalisori, the Apex Bank said it is only reissuing and recirculating the old 200 naira banknote, which is suspected to circulate at legal tender up to April 10 this year. In line with President Muhammadu Buhari's directive, the CBN advised the public to disregard any message or information not formally released by the bank on this subject. It also advised media practitioners to endeavor to verify any information from the correct sources before publication. Osho State Government has enjoined youth and civil society organizations to continue to embrace dialogue in the face of the current scarcity of cash and petroleum as well as the exorbitant charges by point-of-sale operators, just as it works round the clock to ease the situation. The Secretary to the State Government, Honorable Taslimi Malayi, gave the admonition while addressing the coalition of youth groups and civil society organizations, bankers, management, and POS operators in a town hall meeting at the local government service commission hall. Some of the grievances of the youth and the CSOS boiled down to the shortage of cash and the exorbitant charges by operators of point-of-sale machine popularly called POS. The coalition lamented that the cashless policy of the federal government and the Central Bank of Nigeria CBN has thrown Nigerians into unnecessary agony where people now buy Naira notes. Similarly, residents of Oshumo have besieged the office of the Central Bank of Nigeria CBN Oshumo to deposit their old Naira notes following the expiration of the deadline given by the CBN. Some of the depositors who spoke to OSBC News lamented the hardship they are subjected to as a result of the cash flow policy of the federal government. Our reporter, Oluchi Amuda, now brings the story.
The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, is statutorily empowered to oversee the monetary policy of the country. The Apex Bank has never had reasons to deal directly with members of the public, as it only has business with commercial and other intermediary banks, and that may have accounted for why the bank has one branch each in all the states of the Federation. The story is, however, different this time around, as the premises of the Central Bank of Nigeria in Osogbo was a beehive of activities as Nigerians who are still in possession of the old 500 and 1,000 naira notes gathered to deposit the money in line with the directive of the CBN. It will be recalled that the CBN had initially fixed the deadline for the swapping of old naira notes for the 31st of last month, but was later extended to the 10th of this month to enable the Apex Bank map up more old currencies from circulation. Despite the extension, many Nigerians are still in possession of the old naira notes and had been directed to take them to the offices of the CBN nationwide for deposit after the February 10 deadline elapsed. Some of the depositors who spoke with OSBC News on the basis of anonymity complained bitterly about the hardship they are being subjected to, as most of them traveled long distances for the deposit. When asked why they waited till the expiration of the deadline, many responded that they had actually hoped that the CBN governor, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, would further extend the deadline. Depositors were not the only ones that gathered at the premises of the CBN, but sellers of various edibles also cashed out on the situation to eke out a living. Those engaged in online registration and printout of deposit forms were not left out of the business boom, as they also took advantage of the situation to smile to the banks. Meanwhile, while some Nigerians gathered at the office of the CBN to deposit their old Naira notes, some other crowd besieged the various automated teller machines ATM of the various commercial banks in Osogbo, Osun State capital, to withdraw their money. The cash scarcity being experienced in all parts of the country is taking its toll on virtually everyone, as many complained on the number of hours that are wasted every day while queuing at the ATM.
Since 5 o'clock, I didn't seek money to collect.
The situation here is very critical because we don't have money to eat or buy anything.
The situation here is very bad, very pathetic. It's unbearable.
They called on the Central Bank of Nigeria to make the new Naira notes as well as the old ones in smaller denominations readily available for the masses and save them from the stress they are currently passing through just to get access to their hard-earned money. Oluchi Amuda, OSBC News.
Education remains the only option to achieve greatness in life. Chief Olubi Fadeyi gave the insights in the show with the state capital during the 2023 Ajagunla Olubi Fadeyi Annual Bursary Awards for students in Osun State. So we are honored is standing by for the rest of the story.
That was the students of higher institution in Osun State appreciating the bursary opportunity provided by Ajagunla Olubi Fadeyi Annual Bursary Awards. Speaking in Osogbo, the state capital, Chief Olubi Fadeyi said that the presentation of the 2023 Ajagunla Olubi Fadeyi Annual Bursary Awards is a demonstration of his passionate commitment towards quality education for the students. The People's Democratic Party senatorial candidate maintained that education remains the bedrock to a greater future for any individual, stressing that Ajagunla Olubi Fadeyi Annual Bursary Awards has been designed to achieve the dream for the students in Osun State.
Every year, when elected, win 2,000 students. Every year. So if win 8,000 students.
Guests at the occasion who spoke in tongues, including Otumba Femi Karena, Mr. Kamarudin Ajisafe, Alhaji Muniru Adebayo, Mr. Kolapo Alimi, Mr. Ademola Badmos, among others, lauded the initiative, describing it as a good gesture that must be reciprocated by students and residents of Osun State. Some of the beneficiaries, including Ayobami Adebisi, Rufayat Awotayo, Mrs. Cecilia Aroyeun, Mr. Michael Adio, expressed delight over the gesture.
So far so good, I never experienced such things, anything regards to poultry or the like, so I never experienced such things.
I've never experienced any bursary award before, so I give thanks to Ajagunla for what he has done.
Checks ranging from 20,000 to 50,000 naira were later presented to the beneficiaries of Ajagunla Olubi Fadeyi Annual Bursary Awards, expected to increase in number of students in the coming years. Saya Onoide reporting for OSBC News.
Honorable Adewale Adedoyin, representing Ilesha West in the State House of Assembly, says is poised towards sustaining the existing rapport with members of the National Union of the Nigerian Union of Teachers in the state. Honorable Adedoyin gave the assurance in the shoe at the West local government area by commissioning the ultra-modern AUT house donated to members of the Nigerian Union of Teachers at Takumasa West local government branch. Our reporter, Kayode Oyedele, has the details.
Noshu, the headquarters of Atakumasha West local government. The parliamentarian representing Ilesha West, Honorable Adewale Adedoyin, reiterated his commitment towards developmental projects that will benefit the people of Ijesha land. Honorable Adedoyin said he is honored to be used as instrument by God in initiating and completing National Union of Teachers NUT House in Noshu, stressing that it despises making promises that will not be fulfilled.
Promise fulfilled. I'm glad that God has been able to support me to finish this project, and having doubt the possibility of finishing the project when we lost the governorship election, but I know in my own mind that God will support me to finish the project. So I'm fulfilled, I'm happy, I'm highly delighted.
He He therefore reassured that he would not relent in taking the Ijisha land to a greater height with the limited resources available at his disposal. In their separate remarks, the leadership of the All Progressives Congress in Ijisha land, Honorable Gboyega Oyewumi, Honorable Francis Famoyiwa, as well as the leadership of National Union of Teachers in the state, comprising Mrs. Fagbowore Alabi, Comrade Murita Lafatade, Comrade Abiodun Ajala, among others, lauded Honorable Adewale Adedoyin for his commitment towards his love to natural development and overall welfare of the people of Ijisha land.
I want to give appreciation to Almighty God for giving us today, and we thank God that we have people, we have person like Honorable Wale Adedoyin, popularly known as Iyato. I also appreciate Almighty God that I'm part of the success story.
Highlight of the event were commissioning and inspection of the building. Kende Odele reporting for Osbc News.
The National Broadcasting Commission has given 30 days to foreign broadcasters who are offices in Nigeria and bring their signatures to the country to come forth with registration. The Commission also called on all internet protocol television and other broadcast stations that are streaming online to register with the Commission to avoid disconnection and prosecution. Director General of NBC, Malam Balarabe Ilela, who gave the warning while handing over professional licenses to 67 newly approved licenses in Abuja, said that the broadcasters should note that having a digital terrestrial television or FM license does not warrant a broadcaster to stream online, as there are two different licenses. Ilela stated that NBC is determined to collaborate with security agencies to clamp down on illegal broadcasters in the country and reminded licensees that are yet to pay their outstanding debts to hurriedly pay or have their licenses revoked for illegal broadcasting. The new executive officers of Osho State Council of the Nigeria Union of Journalists, NUJ, have been charged to strive towards restoring the lost glory and dignity of the union. Vice President B-Zone, Mrs. Ronke Samo, gave the charge by swearing in new officers at the NUJ Press Center at Wood Road, Oshobo. Adeyemi Abodeni has the details.
Inauguration of the new executive committee of the State Council of the Nigerian Union of Journalists became imperative following the expiration of the tenure of the last executive. Performing the inauguration at the NUJ Press Center, Iwo Road, Oshobo, Vice President B-Zone of the NUJ, Mrs. Ronke Samo, who commended peaceful conduct of the process that led to the emergence of the new executive, charged members of the union to strive to restoring dignity and pride of the union, imploring the aggrieved to sheath their swords and work together for the good of the union. She commended the immediate past executive for a job well done, calling on the newly inaugurated executive to build on the successes and unite the union. Earlier in his welcome address, Chairman NUJ Electoral Committee Rahim Adekileku, who enumerated effort of the committee in ensuring a free, fair, and transparent election, enjoined those disallowed from contesting for the election to work for the growth of the NUJ. The inauguration oath, coordinated by Mrs. Ronke Samo, was administered on the chairman of the new executive committee, Comrade Wasiu Ajadoshu, by barristers Oyeshiku Adelu and Bukola Aderibigbe, who in turn did same to other executive members. In his welcome address, Chairman Osun State Council of the NUJ, Comrade Wasiu Ajadoshu, appreciated members of the union for their support for him in the past 3 years, which has enabled him to achieve so much, promising to build on it, saying it is a dawn of new era.
So this second time being given to me, the journey before me is to remodel the NUJ secretariat, nothing else. In the next 3 years, I pray that all of us are here. You will be here also to witness the new NUJ secretariat.
In their goodwill messages, a veteran journalist, Saya Fadipe, State NSC Secretary, Comrade Force Adeyemi, State Chairman Ratawu Bayo Akisaya, former State Chairman of the NUJ, Alhaji Ayodele Ismail, Officer in Charge, Anti-Fraud Unit of the State Police Command, Mrs. Folashade Odoro, Chairman JNC, Comrade Lasso Akindele, Chairman State Civil Service Union, Comrade Arapa Shopo, and Chairman of the State Council of the NUJ, Rotimi Ojomo, commended the immediate past executive for doing so well, calling on members of the union to support the new executive. Other members of the new executive includes Comrade Adeyemi Abodani, who was elected State Secretary, Mayowa Fagbongbe as Assistant Secretary, Ademola Lawal as State Treasurer, and Adeboyega Sahid as Auditor. For OSBC News, Adeyemi Abodani reporting.
Our sincere apologies for the delay. It was due to circumstances beyond our control. Now, welcome to our sports segment. The final round of the ongoing maiden edition of OSBC 5-a-side football competition began today as Oriade FC secured their qualification for the next round of the competition. Omotayo Adebodu now bring details.
It continues today at the main pitch of OSBC Iliawiyo Kebale Oshogbo, where the first match between Oriade FC and Okeoniti United was a fierce encounter as both teams struggled to find their scoring shoes. The goal later came for Oriade FC through Adeyemo Sadiq via the penalty spot as the team held on to the win. The second match saw AUD United awarded 3 points and 3 goals as their opponent ADS FC didn't show up. The final rounds of group matches continues tomorrow at the main pitch of OSBC Iliawiye Okebale Oshogbo. In the meantime, the Flying Eagles of Nigeria arrived Cairo, Egypt, ahead of the 2023 African Under-20 Cup of Nations. 20 players and their officials touched down at the Cairo International Airport. Ladamboso side at their first training section in Egypt this morning. The flag will be in Zambia before rounding off its African tour in Nigeria on the 26th. The 9-time FIFA Women's World Cup is scheduled to take place from 20th of July to 20th of August 2023, and it will be the first FIFA Women's World Cup to have more than one host nation and also feature the expanded format of 32 teams, replicating the same formats used for the Men's World Cup. 9-time African champions Super Falcons are in the same group with host Australia, Olympic champions Canada, and debutant Republic of Ireland. Omotayo Adebodu, OSBC News.
Let's now join Abdullah Jalil at DBC for foreign stories.
The United Nations Emergency Response Agency said Somaliland, which has claimed independence from Somalia since 1991 but has never been recognized internationally, is often seen as a beacon on stability in a chaotic region. Political uneasy, however, has surged in recent months, with deadly violence erupting last week between government forces and militia loyal to Somalia in the country's town of Las Anod. The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs in Somalia said reports of heavy fighting were continuing to surface despite a declared ceasefire. China has declared a decisive victory over the COVID-19 pandemic, claiming the world's lowest death rate, although experts have questioned Beijing's data as the coronavirus surged across the country after largely being kept at bay for 3 years. A prominent government scientist said the world's most populated nation abruptly ended its zero-COVID policy in early December, with 80% of its 1.4 billion population becoming infected. China's Politburo Standing Committee said in a meeting that with continuous efforts to optimize COVID-19 prevention and control measures since November 2022, China's COVID-19 response has made a smooth transition in a relatively short time. Abdul Jalil at DBC, Osbc News.
To end the major report on Osbc TV, here again are the main points. Presidency assures that the general election will hold as scheduled. INEC reassures Nigerians of transparent and credible poll. Osho State government enjoins people to embrace dialogue in the face of scarcity of cash. On the foreign scene, we brought you a report that 18,500 people flee Somalia's breakaway region over border conflict. That was the major report on Osbc TV. Thank you for watching. It was edited by Michael Adeni Babatunde Bolatito is my name. Good night.